Good morning from the farm. I've got these garlic cloves and some potatoes I accidentally dug up, which is fine, just when I was digging around, weeding and transplanting, and some turnips. So I'm going to mix them all together. And it will be wonderful and mash them. The garlic I pulled because it's not really ready yet, but the stalks had turned brown, so I dug down in and there were maggots in them. Now I know what those look like house flies were. They were laying larvae. So I guess there are some ways to discourage the flies from in the garden. There really weren't that many, but there are ways, but it's too late for that. So what I did do, where I pulled these out, I transplanted some little pepper plants that I found. I thought that I had dug them all up in the garden because I'm hoping that whatever's in it, the capsicum or whatnot, will discourage the maggots, make the climate uncomfortable for them. I had thought that perhaps it was one of the many underground animals. You can see a trail here. See where that's brown, and if I crush down on it, it's light, that eat in my garden, and that includes groundhogs, giant ones, so the fence doesn't do any good at all, gophers, moles, and voles. And some of them eat tubers, some just eat, I can never remember, I think moles eat earthworms and more meaty things, and voles eat plants. I think gophers eat plants too. I'll have to look it up again. But at any rate, I had thought that perhaps that was what had got into the garlic, but then I found the maggots. However, it did explain another mystery. I don't know if you remember, but there's this section. Look how great this looks weeded. Woo! There's beets that are lying flat, slayed by the garden hose, and being weak from transplanting will look fabulous in 2 days. I found a lot of things in here that I didn't know I had when I weeded, which is awesome. And if you'll remember that I was avoiding this one section, patience, I couldn't keep avoiding it, but I did find a bucket load of, I found basil, dill, and peppers. You can almost see that row. You'll see it better in a couple days. But what happened here was a vole came in and formed a couple tunnels right underneath the lines where I had planted. I don't think that there was anything really that would have attracted it at the point of just seeds and teeny tiny roots, but they disrupted it and pushed the seeds all over the place. So some came up, some may still want to come up, but a lot of the weeds pushed them aside for nutrients. So I'm glad to have got what I did, and I have ordered some castor oil pellets, completely organic, to cast in the garden, which people give great reviews. I do have somewhere in here, I've got one of those battery operated sonar things that makes loud sounds, but there doesn't seem to be any evidence that it really discourages gophers, moles, and voles. Just uses up batteries, and I was a little worried that it might disturb the plants because evidence shows that plants respond to bird song. So why wouldn't they respond to an annoying noise? Here's another. Let's see if I can show you another vole hill. Here's one that goes clear from the stable, which makes me think it's groundhog. But groundhogs don't. I don't think you can usually see at the top the groundhogs. And then I think it's gophers that have the diamond shape like the volcano holes. I'd have to follow this into the poison ivy, which doesn't really interest me too much. A lot of dill when I was weeding here. Dill's always hard to save, and some over there because it's so small, but it will be hardy soon. And I planted some more peppers thinking I didn't have any until I found the row that I did, but it's okay. It's kind of late in the season, but we'll see how far it goes, and maybe this year I'll take some in. Well, I've got some chili rellenos on the stove, so I probably better hustle up there before they burn. I either sprained or fractured the bone just below my ankle last summer, and now it's about 3 times the size it should be. I just don't seem to be able to keep that stinking boot on, because if it's a stress fracture or a sprain, it's the same thing. I have to keep the weight off. But here's the goal. So I've got to fix these steps, which means I've got to pull them out and pull out the anchor bolts and put in another one. I've got 3 boards that had rotted there to replace. I'm going to give it a shot. I've been putting that off. I've got 5 window panes to replace. These are old ones. I've got to get up here. That, you know, the seal has broken, so they're kind of not clear like I'd like them to be. And then this is a big project that I'm not going to get to because I just put a roof on and I am having the field excavated, so it's not really in my budget. And I want to get a jungle hammock. This pandemic has got me a little bit down that Americans aren't welcome anywhere, and I get so restless. I want to travel. So I'm thinking, what will it look like after the pandemic? I probably won't want to stay in hostels anymore. Hotels are expensive, and they're lonely when you're by yourself. I mean, I'll stop at a hotel now and then to get clean, but for the most part, I'd rather sleep out. So I'm going to get a jungle hammock and fly. So anyway, I'm saving up my pennies for that, but meanwhile, I can't stand how this looks. So I'm going to paint this morning. So once I get this painted, the steps and the 5 window panes in, I'm going to put my boot on.